I'm Alex Kaeppler from the Department of Human Development and Family Studies, as some of you may know. Give you a brief overview of our poster. So as many of you probably already know, teens tend to be a bit more impulsive and risky than the average adult, even more risky than children. They also tend to be especially risky or impulsive in the context of peers, so if they're around their friends or if they're around peers, they act even more impulsively. However, there's also a competing body of literature that says if you use carefully placed rewards, you can kind of offset some of these risky behavioral tendencies. So what we wanted to look at specifically in our study, or one of the aspects, was whether or not monetary incentives could offset some of these exacerbatory peer influences that we tend to see. So what we did in our study, just to give you a very brief overview of the methods, we took 24 kids, put them in a scanner, had them play a driving task where they'd come up to a series of intersections and choose to either stop at the intersection or go through and potentially crash. In some of the conditions, we told them that they were being watched by a same-sex, same-age peer, so we'd put a little camera icon up here to help indicate that. In other conditions, we'd tell them that they could earn money for their performance, so we'd put a little gold dollar icon up here for that, just to help indicate what condition they were in without us having to say it, for a very, very brief overview of our results. Somewhat as we expected in general, rewards did tend to offset risky behavioral decisions just overall. So as we see in the reward-only condition, we tended to see generally the fewest risky decisions. We also looked at a couple of moderators, one of which is resistance to peer influence. So this is how much or how little you're impacted by what your peers or your friends say to you. And again, I don't have time to go into everything, but what we found here is that overall, people with more resistance to peer influence actually made fewer risky decisions in general. And within conditions, and I can talk about this more later, the control and peer-only conditions especially, we see particularly drastic differences between those who are high and low risky behavior. So if you want to talk to me more, come back.